There is a symbol recognized almost everywhere on Earth. It appears on necklaces, t-shirts, earrings, tattoos, handbags, stickers, phone cases, even runway fashion shows. Some people wear it with deep faith. Some wear it casually. Some wear it without even knowing why. This symbol is the cross. Once, it represented suffering, sacrifice, and a path of love through pain. Today, it is also a trend, a fashion accessory, an aesthetic decoration, a branding element, sometimes just another emoji. So how did a sacred symbol of pain, death, and redemption slowly become a mainstream fashion statement? This is not about attacking belief or believers. This is about something else. It is about how meaning slowly drifts away, how sacred things become ordinary, how symbols that once shook civilizations now sit on fast fashion shelves. This is the lost meaning of the cross. Section 1. The cross before it became a symbol. To understand how meaning was lost, we first have to remember what the cross originally was. Before it was jewelry, before it was art, before it stood on top of churches, the cross was an execution device. It was brutal, humiliating, and public. It was designed not just to kill, but to break a person slowly and painfully. In the ancient world, crucifixion was usually reserved for rebels, slaves, political threats, outsiders with no power. So when early Christians adopted the cross, they were doing something shocking. They weren't choosing something pretty. They chose the very symbol of suffering and shame and transformed it into a symbol of love, sacrifice, forgiveness, redemption, and hope beyond death. The cross didn't start as decoration. It started as a challenge, a reminder of what it costs to love deeply in a broken world. Section 2. From secret sign to public icon. Early followers of Jesus were persecuted. They didn't wear cross pendants openly. They used hidden signs, fish symbols in the sand, simple coded drawings, discrete marks understood only by each other. The cross became public much later, when Christianity spread through empires, art, culture, and architecture. It appeared on cathedrals, paintings, grave markers, religious garments. Even then, it wasn't fashion. It still symbolized something weighty. When people saw the cross, they were reminded of sacrifice, moral responsibility, the call to love enemies, the cost of compassion. It was not about looking good. It was about being good, or at least trying. Section 3. When religion met consumer culture. So when did things begin to change? The turning point came when religion met mass consumer culture. Jewelry industries discovered that crosses are simple shapes, recognizable anywhere, easy to print, easy to sell, and appealing not only to believers, but also to fashion trends. And slowly, the cross detached from context. It moved from altars to necklaces, from prayer halls to photo shoots, from sacred rituals to clothing racks. Fashion brands realized something powerful. A symbol does not need to be understood. It only needs to be recognizable. Cross imagery began appearing on pop star outfits, luxury fashion campaigns, streetwear brands, album covers, sometimes worn by people with faith, sometimes by people with none, sometimes simply because it looked cool. Meaning didn't disappear in one day. It thinned out slowly, layer by layer. The cross became an aesthetic. Section 4. Pop culture and celebrity influence. Then came another force, celebrity influence. Celebrities wore large crosses on stage and red carpets, and it created a domino effect. Celebrities to fashion brands, to influencers, to everyday trends. At this point, the questions were no longer, what does this symbol call me to live? What sacrifice does it remind me of? They became, does this look good? Does it match my outfit? Will it trend in photos? The sacred became stylish. The symbol of self-sacrifice became a piece of self-expression. Section 5. When symbols lose their weight. Something interesting happens when symbols are everywhere. They become background noise. The more casually we use a symbol, the easier it becomes to forget its cost. When the cross becomes just a graphic design, we stop asking what it originally demanded. Compassion over cruelty, forgiveness over revenge, humility over ego, courage in suffering, love, even when it hurts. Whether one is religious or not, there is a deeper human question. What happens when powerful symbols become empty decorations? When suffering becomes an accessory? When sacrifice becomes an aesthetic? When deep things become shallow visuals? We don't just lose religious meaning, we lose depth itself. Section 6. This is not about blame. This is not about blaming or judging anyone who wears a cross. Many people wear it with devotion, with sentimental value, with personal stories behind it. The problem is not a pendant. The real issue is forgetfulness. Meaning fades when symbols are repeated without reflection, when sacred stories are turned into marketing tools, when spiritual language has become a branding, when rituals continue, but understanding disappears. This channel is not about religion versus no religion. It is about meaning versus emptiness. Section 7. Why companies love sacred symbols. There is a reason commercial culture loves sacred symbols. They already carry emotional power. For free, companies don't have to build meaning. The symbol already has it. They just print it, sell it, repeat it, and gradually meaning moves from sacred experience to commercial product. The sacred doesn't die loudly. It fades quietly into decoration. Section 8. What the cross was meant to remind us of. The cross, in its deepest sense, was about choosing love, even when it costs everything, standing with the oppressed, forgiving when revenge feels easier, refusing to answer hatred with hatred, believing that suffering is not the end of the story. These are universal human values, regardless of belief. Sacrifice means something. Love means something. Suffering means something. Symbols mean something. When symbols lose meaning, we don't just lose tradition. We risk losing the call to live differently. Section 9. Returning to meaning. So what do? The answer is not stop wearing crosses and not judge those who do. The real invitation is deeper. Remember, reflect, reconnect. Before using any sacred symbol, any ritual, any practice, ask, what did this originally stand for? What story am I forgetting? What value is buried under the decoration? Am I honoring the meaning or only enjoying the aesthetic? When symbols regain depth, they no longer just decorate our bodies, they shape our lives. In conclusion, the lost meaning. The cross becoming a fashion symbol is not only about Christianity, it is about our age. Everything becoming fast, everything becoming aesthetic, everything becoming product. We live in a world that loves the look of meaning, but fears the cost of meaning. Once the cross called people to radical love and sacrifice, now it also sits on clothing racks beside price tags. The symbol remains the same. The question is, what changed? The world or us? This is the lost meaning. Please like, share, and subscribe if the content resonates with you. Until next time, thank you for watching.